Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 17 minutes after 9 o'clock. Sean Smalls filling in for Mixmaster Mike Winters. He should be back inside your radios tomorrow morning. Joining us in studio from Big Brothers Big Sisters of Southeastern New Mexico is Kim at Dezendorf. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Good to hear it. Good to hear it. So it's been a trying month or so for you. You were telling us off the air that you've been battling the Rona.
Yeah.
And kind of the symptoms of long COVID, as they call it, kind of the brain fog and stuff. That's what a bummer.
Yeah, it really is.
You forget that. I think we've moved to a point where it's like we're not post-COVID by any stretch of the imagination, but we're far enough removed from it that it's now kind of surprising when you hear that somebody close to you got it again.
Yeah.
Wait, still?
Well, and it was my first time having it. I'm like, how did I get through, 2.5 years and never got it?
Right.
And then
I've wondered. There's several times I've been like, was that it? Did I have it? Or was that just like a sinus thing? Or because I've known people that literally they just are getting off their third or fourth go round with it. I'm like, and you're vaccinated,
right?
What? Okay, all right, but luckily we managed to weasel you in here this morning. You got plenty to talk about. Big Brothers Big Sisters heading into the fall time season. And it's the busy season for you guys, too.
It is. School's starting back and everything. And that's, COVID, all the lockdowns and shutdowns and everything just really just decimated our programs.
Sure.
And so we have been super busy remaking those contacts, talking to people. And so I think we're going to have a big program starting up really soon. I can't give away details just yet, until everything's been finalized.
Sure.
But I wanted to let everybody know that we have been working our tails off, and we've had meetings. We've got a lot of great things coming up, and I think probably next month when I come back and see you guys, I will have some really big announcements.
Okay.
But
I like
the
tease.
Yeah.
I like the tease. Well done.
Yeah, but I wanted everybody to know that we really have been working, and I think that our programs are going to be starting up very soon, stronger than they ever have been before. We've had some really productive meetings. So
and that's something a lot of people don't think about. How COVID affects different industries, different organizations, and Big Brothers Big Sisters. The whole point of the organization is people coming together at a time when we're supposed to be socially distant.
Right.
It had to have impacted you guys sure, you can have a Zoom meeting for between a big and a little, but there's only so far that can go.
Right. And that was part of the problem. Like, we had existing matches, obviously, and they moved to online, Zoom meetings and things like that. But the lockdowns, the shutdowns, the closings of the schools just effectively made it to where we could not continue a lot of the programs that we had, because we had a lot of programs in the schools, and then even when the schools opened back up, for the longest time, there were all the different COVID protocols and all of that with the social distancing and this and that, where we even though the kids were in school, we couldn't get into the schools.
Right.
And then, us being more or less absent, as far as active programs that we were able to do, it was very difficult for us to grow even our community-based, where it's just, a kid and an adult out in the community.
And you were struggling even before COVID to find bigs.
Right.
I mean, it's always been a consistent struggle to get enough bigs for the littles that we have.
Yes.
And then COVID comes and that has to put an even bigger damper on things.
Right, because we had I think a lot of people were concerned, and that is starting to pick back up too. So, thank you, Roswell, for that.
I think that maybe it's Roswell that I'm seeing on a small scale, but I think on a bigger scale nationwide, people are more apt to want to do stuff now.
Right.
It's almost like we don't want to take things for granted that we took for granted before.
Right.
So I feel like we're going to see maybe an influx of bigs in the coming months.
Yes, because we still desperately need them. We still have kids on the waiting list. And so, but we're able to do the in-person interviews now. We're able to do all of the things. All the restrictions basically have been lifted now for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months or whatever. And so we've got people that are calling now wanting to volunteer, and so that's a wonderful thing, and we're starting to see that side of it really uptick. So, but we still need more people.
It's such a weird thing. You just hit something in my head. It's such a weird thing when you say that we're kind of for about 5 or 6 months been into this new. I hate saying the phrase new normal, but this new normal. And then literally just within the last couple of years, I distinctly remember lines outside of Walmart. It's like, what a weird time that we lived through and that we all collectively went through. It's just so like mind bending that was a thing that we all did.
Yeah.
And now we're on this other side of it. And yeah, people are, I think, more eager to do stuff, to reach out, to help out, to be more decent people, I think. We're seeing the world crumbling around us and we're like, all right, we got to do something about it. We got to be proactive because nobody's going to do it for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or at least that's my hope.
Yeah. But yeah, we still need people. You guys can call us at our office. It is 575-627-2227. Or our website, and it is bbbssenm.org, or you can just Google Big Brothers Big Sisters Roswell or Travis County or Southeastern New Mexico.
It's a complicated website, but it's a lot easier to remember than you think. If it's just Big Brothers Big Sisters Southeast New Mexico, BBBSSENM.org.
Yep, just that acronym.
It helps. It helps a lot. So let's talk about the process itself. For those who aren't familiar with what goes on or what goes into the process, if they're sitting there listening saying, I want to help out. I got some extra time. I could impact a kid's life. I could help out. What's the process?
So basically, you start with an application, and we have to do a background check because child safety is our number one concern.
Absolutely.
And so you do a background check, and we run references and all that, and then we do an interview with you. Now the interview is rather lengthy. It takes about an hour and a half, and it's very in depth. But the whole point of the interview is to find out a lot about you, and kind of what makes you tick, how you view relationships and what your interests are and what what your hobbies are and what things like that. And they use that information to find a child that you would be most apt to connect with well.
Gotcha. And I imagine that the system, the algorithm that you guys use to kind of go through the questioning process and the way that's processed, I imagine that's incredibly intricate. You guys have had to have done a lot of research, or folks before you have done a lot of research to know exactly which questions to ask, what subjects to cover, and that it really weeds out a lot of the issues. Because if you're like an avid painter, you might not get as along with somebody who's like say a skater kid or something along those lines. So you want to find relationships that make sense.
Right. And like I said, it's what kind of interests you have and what hobbies and things like that. But a lot of it too is also relational, like how do you view this or that relationship in your life? What, things like that. I mean, it's a lot of it is pretty personal and pretty detailed.
Right.
But it really is, it comes down to kind of personality, right? And for us to know what kinds of things that you have to offer. So like if we have a little that is super shy, and maybe one of our goals for that little is to help them kind of come out of their shell.
Absolutely.
Then through this interview process, we can find the right type of person that would be a good fit for that child to help them come out of their shell.
I actually have a local story of somebody who I don't know if it was through the big program. I think it was. My friend Marie. She had a friend who was kind of on the shy side, and anybody who knows Marie knows that ain't her.
Yeah.
She is outgoing as all get out.
Yeah.
So she kind of cracked this kid's shell and kind of brought her out a little bit, and now she's. I mean, this young kid is kind of everywhere. She's like a little spokesman for the community and stuff. And it's awesome to see that. It's awesome to see a child kind of come out of their shell and come into their own and realize, this is my personality. This is who I am, and shine with it.
Yeah,
it's just awesome.
Yeah, and so like I said, the process takes a while.
Sure.
Background checks aren't necessarily instantaneous.
And I'd imagine yours goes a little deeper.
Oh, yes,
because
it is.
when you're putting grown adults with kids, there's absolute things that boxes that must be checked.
Correct. So, anybody that wants to sign up, I mean, we encourage all comers, just understand that the process it's not, you can't like call and next week you'll be matched. It does take a while. It may be, a couple of months even. And then that a lot of it depends on if we have a child that would be a good match for you or not. And so, and I just say that for people to understand, like, don't feel like, well, I'm just not going to do it then if it's going to take a long time. It's absolutely worth that time.
Right. Anything worth doing is worth putting time into. I've always believed. So if it's something that you are passionate about, something that you want to do, and the benefits, the values for you are just as much for the little. I mean,
Right.
the sense of accomplishment and the pride and the the respect that you build for your littles, it's an amazing thing.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
I've known bigs and littles that have gone on and been lifelong friends.
Yes, absolutely. That happens all the time. And it's and even and it doesn't even matter what age they're matched at. You know, we have some that have been matched since the little was 5 or 6 years old, you know, and that went on to become lifelong friends. We have some that they were matched when the little was, 12 or 13. And same thing.
It's so funny to me how arbitrary age is at our age. How like my best friends are like 6, 7 years older than me. When you're a kid, hanging out with somebody in the next lower grade than you was unheard of.
Right.
And it becomes so arbitrary. So, a big and a little, they could be separated by 15, 20 years. In 20 years, that's going to make no difference. They're just grown people,
Yep.
and it's all arbitrary. But that bond and that relationship, that friendship started at such a young age. And that's something that is a foundation that's going to last for a lifetime.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so once we go through the process and everything and get you ready and find a little that is a good fit, the only real requirement we have is that you spend at least 4 hours a month so you could say I'm going to go spend an hour with them every Saturday. 1
hour a week and that's a minimum. You don't just all right, 4 hours. Peace.
Right.
I mean, if you guys are having fun, hang out for a couple extra hours,
Yes.
and there's so much to do. And people don't think about, there's nothing to do around here. Fight me in a field. There's plenty to do around here. The recreation aquatic center, beautiful bike. Roswell has some of the best bike lanes of any small to mid-sized town I've ever lived in.
Right.
I mean, grab a bike and go for a ride.
Yeah, and we encourage our matches to do free or low cost things, and because it's about spending the time, and
Exactly.
that's the whole thing. It's about spending the time listening to them, talking to them, interacting with them. And we have matches that will get together at the Big's house and bake cookies together.
Sure.
Or they'll go ride bikes together, or they do, but because it's not about like, hey, I'm going to take them shopping and get
Right.
them all this stuff, or
I'm going to take them out for a fancy meal. I'm going to take them to a movie.
Right. It's about spending just that quality time.
I was just thinking, I keep some all over town, those little bird scooters. I mean, I pop $20 onto the bird account. I've never used it. I'm not sure when I'm going to.
Yeah.
But I have the option. So it's like, throw some money on the bird app, and then you and your little go for a scooter ride around Pioneer Plaza or whatever together. There's lots of options. Creativity is one of the best parts of hanging out with a little, because their minds, they're open for whatever. Their minds are a playground essentially, and they're ready for whatever game you want to bring.
Yep. And they do. They'll get together and just play board games or do right.
You could establish a lifelong love for D&D in your little.
Yes.
You could be a dungeon master, and every week take them deeper and deeper into the dungeon or something. Later on, that kid becomes the DM for their group or something.
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring back a D&D, trying to make it a thing. But the options are endless. So if you want to be a part of this program, it's absolutely worthwhile. I encourage you to reach out. Again, Big Brothers Big Sisters Southeast, BBBSSENM.org, if you want to reach out. Now, I'm curious, do you find more kids coming to the program voluntarily, or do you find you get more kids through like recruitment in schools?
It's really about 50-50. Okay. We have, because of like you guys and advertising that we have around town, we have parents that will call us and say, I think my kid really could use this.
Sure.
But then we also we get them from the schools. Like school counselors will say, I know about you guys and I have this kid, and
Right.
And so it's really about half and half.
Okay.
Yep.
So once the kid comes and finds the program, For the most part, I've seen nothing but success out of the program. It's an awesome thing to be a part of. So
Yes.
so going into the next phase, if you will, like you said, you can't really tell us much yet, but it sounds like you guys have some big things in the works.
Absolutely, we do, and I think it's going to be a really exciting time because, with all of the meetings that we've had, the contacts that we've made, and everything, I absolutely believe we are going to be back stronger than ever and bigger than ever, very, very soon.
And we're going into a very busy season. You know,
Yes.
we got fall time, we got football games happening, a lot of haunted house stuff's going to be happening, the fall festivals. Then, of course, the Christmas Railway. There's plenty of opportunities to hang out with your littles. You
Yes.
can't tell me that there's nothing to do in Roswell. You just got to be a little creative with it.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
I talked to a friend of mine who, and I didn't know this was a thing, they go hunting Pecos Valley diamonds,
Oh wow.
which I had never even heard of were a thing. But yeah, these like really pretty little gemstones that we have just kind of littering all over the Pecos Valley. Let's go out to the middle of nowhere and just start looking for them.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Geocaching. I have a friend who's super into geocaching, which you've never done that. There's like these little pretty painted rocks that you just find scattered around, different latitude, longitude locations. Those are always fun.
Yeah.
These just little ideas, folks. But
Yep.
just whatever you do, as long as you're doing it together, you're nurturing a great relationship, you're building a foundation that's going to last a lifetime. So I encourage it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if folks want to help out the organization financially, they can do that as well, correct?
Correct. And that can be done. You can mail us in a check.
Okay.
Or you can go to our website. We have the set up on there to do credit or debit cards if you do that. And that system is really cool because you can even set up a recurring gift. So if you, and every little bit counts.
Absolutely.
Because when we all the background checks and all of that kind of stuff, that it takes money, and so but to pay the staff to do the interviews and to figure all that stuff out, and so even if you want to do like $20 a month, but you want to do it like recurring, you can set that up on our website. So.
BBBSSENM.org. They say on the radio to never ask a question you don't know the answer to, but you guys are under the United Way umbrella.
We are partnered with United Way.
I thought so. I wasn't sure. There's like 24 organizations they represent. I thought you guys were one.
We are.
So remember also, when you're helping out the United Way of Chaves County, a portion of that money does go towards Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Correct.
So
And
you could pinpoint it when you're donating with the United Way.
Yes, you could designate it. If you donate to the United Way, you could designate it for us, and that comes to us. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, again, it's BBBSSENM.org. Give me the phone number one more time.
It is 575-627-2227.
2227. Super
Yes.
easy to remember. 627-2227.
Yes.
Reach out, folks. If you have any free time or any desire to be a part of this program, it's absolutely going to do as much for you as it's going to do for the little.
Absolutely.
It's going to build your self-confidence. It's going to make you feel, like more accomplished as a person and just a better person. You're really having an impact on somebody's life, and nobody can take that away from you.
Yeah. And we have a lot of bigs that report back to us that, I got into this thinking, I'm going to help out a kid. I'm going to change the life of a kid. I'm going to make a difference in the life of a kid. And after being matched for a while, they were like, this has helped me more than I ever anticipated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They change you as much as you can have the opportunity to change them.
Yep.
Well, Kim, thank you so much for your time.
Alrighty.
We
Thank
appreciate
you.
having you here.
All
We'll hopefully have you next month.
Yes.
Hopefully we set up a system where we get a hold of you guys beforehand to let you know, just to remind you.
Yeah.
But we'll definitely get something.
All right. I appreciate you.
Thanks so much.
You.
36 minutes after 9 o'clock. Let's